We love shit and love hoarding stuff, right? But where does this come from? Why do we do it? Well, I won't answer that. Not on this video, wink wink. But what I will do is talk about the new Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 4. Fuck, that was a mouthful. It's not really a new game, but a hack of the third one. And because I'm big brain, I will show you the relationship between this game, censorship, anime in Latin America, and talk a bit about poverty in that son of the world. Does it make sense? It will make sense, just trust me. I know it sounds like I just pulled this out of my ass, but it actually makes a lot of sense. So, let's start this voyage into the weird place that is Latin America.
Me llama vampiro, vampiro latino.
One thing that I wanted to talk about is poverty. We all know that Latin America has never been in a great position due to a lot of economic and political situations. And those situations have forced Latin American people to use things until they break and look for a quote-unquote cheaper solution. Let's take Cuba as an extreme example. They've made a lot of things to compensate the fact that their own government has left them to fend for themselves, while at the same time preventing them from living a decent life. So, spare parts for cars, electrodomestics, and pretty much everything have to be made by them. And this fix everything mentality is something that you can see throughout Latin America for the most part. Well, business like fixing TVs and electrodomestics and all sorts of household items are going down in the first world due to the fact that, sometimes it's less of a hassle just to change the item. In Latin America, you better believe that you are fixing it. For example, the washing machine back at my mom's house back home is actually older than me. This mentality of using everything to their full worth is not just a way of thinking, but a necessity, going full circle to our base idea that a lack of money and a lack of resources make longevity in articles a priority. But how does this translate to entertainment? Well, in two particular ways. First, let's talk about something that everyone enjoys nowadays and that became a staple of the afternoons in that part of the continent: anime. Back in the 90s, anime was taken to Latin America, and even before that, but there is one simple reason why every TV station had anime for the kids instead of your regular G.I. Joe and shit and Sonny eating fucking chili dogs. And that reason is that anime was cheaper. Aside from the fact that it was cheaper to just translate it than to do the 4Kids shit and fuck anime up the way they did in the States. So it was straight from Japan to our lovely RF TVs in our dimly lit living rooms. Since a lot of us didn't grow up with Superman, we grew up with some other heroes like Vegeta, Seiya, Kenshin, the EVA 01, Spike, Sakura, and of course Goku, or Goku actually. Those were our heroes and were our role models and became very important to us since the first day. We felt connected to them, especially to Goku. He became an icon of honor, power, and making yourself a better person. So the values and aesthetic in Latin America for animation became very Japanese. Not only because anime was and is great, but because it wasn't censored and it was more mature, making those shows last longer in our subconscious minds. Hence, there are a lot of grown-ass men with Dragon Ball names in their businesses, but not only Dragon Ball, all anime. And I don't think I can stress this enough. Latin American people are otaku as fuck.
Kating ay ba Ngudeno do labo Katali demon Chukachida kebo Kademitsu meke Koko e umdebu Agata Soko Bureru morong 求めることに
And then for the second way, we have piracy. Piracy is something that goes hand in hand with longevity. Why? Well, because usually the consoles that get pirated the most are the ones that get used the most. The two most used consoles in Latin America as of right now are PS2 and Xbox 360. Actually, not in that order. 360 is first, but you get my meaning. Because why? Well, because they can still use them and hack to their heart's content, i.e. emulators and cheap games. Now, I'm not saying it's good, I'm just stating a fact, okay? So don't. Nintendo, don't. Even though I'm talking about Sony and Microsoft, but Nintendo, don't. Nintendo, don't. And since piracy is so widespread there, people make use of their consoles however they see fit, like jailbreaking them, making them region free, and putting emulators inside of every console out there. Let's just say they are used to getting their money's worth for years and years to come. But the downside to this is that a lot of companies hate importing things to that part of the continent, like most Japanese companies, for example Bandai Namco. Even though they have one of the biggest markets there, it hardly makes a profit, so they usually just release everything for the North American market, but not the Central and South American market. Now you ask yourself, it ain't that bad, is it? Well, it is. Oh, it is. Let me tell you, it is. Every anime broadcasted in North America from the 90s and 2000s was either changed completely or heavily edited and censored.
Fire Pearl.
Please, you think that a chef is afraid of a couple of flames?
Oh, come on. Drop the tough guy act.
How about I drop you?
Thank you for kids. Thank you. But unlike most of Europe and North America, anime there was uncensored and unchanged. One of the biggest offenders for a lot of people when they watch the American version of DBC is the music. It was completely changed, and it's just plain shit. But don't worry, Italy did the same thing. Actually, it might be worse. Most Dragon Ball games are awesome. Except for you piece of shit. That's why I said most. But never mind. Imagine that you're playing a DBZ game, but the voices are other voices. Okay, I can understand that because it's based on the American dub, sure. But the music and changed names... What? And Bandai always said, get fucked, you filthy pirates, and even going as far as not hiring the original voices for Dragon Ball Z Kai. Well, you can guess how that went. So, we had to take matters into our own hands, or rather, a group of 4 took everyone else's wishes and made them a reality. And it's here where Team BT4 enters, a group of 4 people that know their way around coding, moding, and all of that shit that's like dick magic for all of the other folk like us out there.
What the fuck are you talking about?
But first, they needed a base to work on. And after a lot of searching, they found the best Dragon Ball game with the biggest character roster. They worked on top of Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 3. The most open Dragon Ball game at the time. They started small, changing some characters into the newer ones from Dragon Ball Super, adding the original soundtrack and adding some new modes. Simple, but then it became something bigger. Something that gave the fans that felt fucked over by Namco a little bit of hope. More than a decade later, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 was still alive, but under a new name, Budokai Tenkaichi 4. And how did this come into place? Well, with time and effort. First, they wanted to adapt the entirety of the Super Saga, so they started working on characters like Jiren, Hit, and Black. But to do this, they had to get rid of characters such as well, I don't think that guy, but Frieza's army, for example. But it's okay, they got turned into something better, like Kefla, who, by the way, plays like a charm. She's the best character in the entire game. Because this, ladies and gents, it's not only a reskin, but a complete overhaul. The new characters have their original powers and moves, so it's a complete integration of the new saga, mostly catered to the Latin American market, because the main idea, as I said a while back...
What are you doing, step bro?
That's not what I said. I said that one of the main objectives was to mod the game with the original voices. Did I say how big is the Latin American dubbing industry? Well, I did many times. Okay. Now, the game itself remains the same. They didn't remove anything that would detract from the overall experience. Hence, the base game is exactly the same. Sadly, cuts had to be made to be able to add, all of the new sagas. So, the story mode was skimmed down, but in return we got a lot of new characters in the game. So if you believe that the chapters inside of the game were too long, well, this is the game for you. The graphics are timeless, and no matter how much you look at them, they look good. Even comparing them with DBC Kakarot. The cel-shaded style makes things age at a different pace, giving them that anime look. Hence, the game looks good, even by today's standard. Combined with the sleek and easy to learn control scheme and an extensive story mode that has everything Dragon Ball. And I mean everything, like Arale. You remember her? Well, she was in the original BT3, just not this one. The controls are comprehensive and easy to use. There is an easy pattern for every transformation, attack, and ki blast in the game. You can line punches and kicks to make a combo that ends up with you going, with every character being different from the rest and even displaying different power levels. And that's pretty interesting and goes back to the anime. How can you play this game? Well, you can play it on a PS2 or on a PS3 if you want to play the HQ version, but there are some things that your consoles have to have, if you catch my meaning. Now, no, I won't tell you how to get it, but I will tell you to try and find it. Now, if you want to say thanks to the team making the game, Team BT4, you can go to their page, links in the description, so you can say hi to them and thank them for their work. That's if you're interested. But that's all from my part. Hope I gave you a more in-depth look into how about not only Dragon Ball, but a lot of other things. If you want to help me out, you can share my content with your friends, family, and your Uncle Jacinto. He's a cool dude, he gave me beers once. Or you can like and subscribe to my channel. Remember something, you're all GOAT. See you next time. Bless.
Aunque hemos pasado por un sinfín de cosas. Has pasado por mucho, pero no eres un sujeto malvado, lo sé. Por favor, detente. No tienes por qué escuchar a este grupo de sinvergüenzas.